Hello, welcome to The Back Podcast, Australia's favourite gaming podcast, as voted on by us, the hosts of The Back Podcast, Australia's favourite gaming podcast. It is Monday, the 12th of September 2022. I'm Nick Richardson, and today I'm joined by Peter Stephanie Burns.
Hey!
And she's a lover of fishing and IRL content, and we need to somehow get her a boat. It's Sploosy.
G'day.
Lucy, my goodness, thank you so much for coming on the show. Just before we started, and I don't like to reveal pre-show secrets, but just before we started, you said, and I quote, "Why me? I just fish."
Yeah, I feel like a bizarre choice. Yeah, most of my content is fishing, outdoor kind of content. Don't do a lot of gaming. If it is, it's probably just Overwatch and me just raging. Yeah.
Yep. But you are one of our community's favorite IRL streamers. I feel like you get mentioned all the time, and I feel like you are one of those people that when people say to me, "Oh, Twitch, it's that video game thing, right?" I always go, "Yeah, but there's other things on there. Like there's this woman who just fishes all the time, and it's so chill and relaxed." And you are always like my first go-to reference. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got into streaming, and also how you got into fishing?
Fishing has been something that I've enjoyed since I was sort of around the age of 9 or 10. That's like my earliest memory of fishing. So I've dabbled in fishing throughout the years, and I initially started out on Twitch playing Overwatch, and then I discovered that these streamers were taking, their equipment outside and streaming fishing. So that just kind of was something that I tried and really liked, and now it's it's the main focus of my channel.
Pete, do you dabble in fishing?
Do I dabble in fishing? I guess dabbling is like probably even a generous term for the amount of fishing that I've done in my life. I enjoy fishing. I don't necessarily seek out fishing, but whenever someone suggests the idea of fishing, I'm like, that sounds like an awesome way to spend an afternoon. So yes, I have fished. Yeah, but I've been burnt.
Like sunburnt?
Not sunburnt. Devastating, and I mean, you'll probably empathize with this, Lucy. I caught a brim, the biggest brim that's ever been seen.
Oh my goodness!
Biggest brim that's ever been pulled out of a little creek. It's big. It doesn't even fit. I can't even get my hands in the.
Twitch is
really impressive.
Well, it was
right, it's definitely fucking getting bigger every time you go silent.
Caught this fish. Went through the whole process, and there's a beautiful thing to this to the descaling of a fish and the gutting of a fish. I mean, none of that sounded beautiful, but there is a beauty to the simplicity of the task and the preparation of food. I caught this thing. It was a beast. I'm gonna eat this thing. So went through the whole process. And it was the last night on a trip away. So we're like, we're not going to actually eat it tonight. I'll freeze it. We'll take it home and we'll have it like tomorrow. And we froze it and we packed up and left in the morning. And then we were halfway home and I was like, there's a fucking giant brim in the freezer at the holiday house.
Oh, no.
So rough. And so, okay, so that's Sploosy. My question to you. You turn up at a holiday house that you've just booked. You open the freezer. There's a huge brim in there. Do you eat that brim?
Yeah, I probably would. I mean, That was a big brim. That was a big brim.
It's too big for the freezer.
You can't let that go to waste. Yeah, that sucks. The last time I was fishing, because I fished quite a bit when I was a kid, which I really enjoyed. The last time I was fishing, it wasn't even proper fishing. I went with my mum was dating some Dutch guy, and he took us out at like 9 o'clock at night to catch eels.
Cinnamon. Oh, right.
Eel.
Yeah, and it was like it was like tickle the eel and then you pull it out of the water and whatever. I don't know. I think he was just trying to fuck my mum, but it was just.
Did he?
It was. I'm fairly certain he was around. He was around a fair bit for a couple of months. So yeah, that was the last time I did that. But I need to get back into it. I should take the kids because fishing is a great kids activity.
Yeah.
We all agree.
And adult activity.
It's
just a little demeaning,
Lucy
mate.
a child. We've all seen Rex Hunt the manliest man we've ever seen on the planet. We know adults fish. Well, Lucy, it's a joy to have you here, and I can't wait for you to somehow tie every video game back to fishing. All right, let's get into the stories, because Pete, the news is not going to break itself. The Backup is presented by one of our top stitch patrons, the best evil person we know, that Dutch guy. Because he broke my mother's heart. Evil Spy Boy. Get your exclamation mark Spy Boys out of the chat, because thanks to his generous Patreon support, Evil Spy Boy is bringing you the backup, and he's hoping you bring the generosity to Food Bank Australia. Food Bank provide regular breakfast to more than 132,000 students at schools across the country. And on top of this, more than 200,000 kids seek food relief from their charities every single month. Donate at foodbank.org.au. There is a link in chat button right now. And head to tasteofmultifish.com for more information about Evil Spy Boy's proclivities. All right, let's back it up and look at the biggest stories of the week, as voted on by us, the hosts of the Backup, where we back up and look at the biggest stories of the week. And Lucy, you're our guest, so please start us off with the story that made you back up and say, hey, that's a pretty big story.
The Pokemon Auto Battler seems to be a new feature coming out for the Pokemon games. So it looks like it sort of cuts that grinding. You can kind of just get your Pokemon with you can get your Pokemon to just take off and battle and look for items for you with a Let's Go feature. I have done some reading up about it. I haven't played a lot of Pokemon games, I've seen some comments about it, people being worried that shinies are going to get like absolutely destroyed by the Pokemon that just wanders off. So that seems like a concern, but it seems like a good way to cut out like a lot of grinding, which is something that would kind of irk me about Pokemon games.
Yeah, the closest example to a feature like this in Pokemon in the past has been kind of the what do they call them? The I'm going to say this and it's going to be wrong. The breeding house. But
all right, I've been playing these games wrong.
It's where you leave your Pokemon and
to fuck.
Well, yeah, but also like when you leave one of them there, they level up. They like gain experience at at a nursery care, at daycare.
Gain experience, nice.
But it's a breeding house, because if you put two Pokemon in there, they fuck. They fuck.
Okay, yeah.
It's a daycare breeding. Yeah, but it's a breeding house.
Okay.
So that's a way for you to like. The challenge of like
dig up, Pete. Dig
up the bang house. Thank you, Telroy. There's been like the problem of the grind has always been part of Pokemon. It was really prevalent in the early days. They brought in experience share and stuff, so your whole party would level up as you played. But then the daycare, as some people like to call it, is like a feature that you might catch a low level Pokemon that you know is going to be valuable to you at a higher level, but it's not really any point in having it in your party right now. You pop it in daycare, it starts to level up in there while you're off doing the rest of the game. So it's passively gaining experience as opposed to you needing to have it in your party and having this low level Pokemon in your party. It wasn't it's not the best feature, but it was kind of okay. I think this is a more interesting way to, and a more like colorful world way to do it. So breeding house is pretty colorful. In like sending your Pokemon off, and it's the thought of they're on their own adventure, gaining experience and bringing stuff back I quite like that idea.
And so, because this is the most excited I've been about a Pokemon game in a very long time, potentially ever. And so, does this mean I can get through the game by only battling important battles, and I can just constantly level up Pokemon in this passive way, or there's still like, if I want to catch something, I still need to go through and do that initial battle? Yeah,
it sounds to me like I initially thought the feature was going to be more of a set and forget in the battles, and it AI drives the combat. Which I think would be a good thing for younger players who aren't interested in that, or people who aren't interested in the combat and are just there to catch them all and explore the world. So it's not that. You still have to play the game. You still have to catch your Pokemon. You still have to have your battles, and if you're only battling gym leaders or key battles, you would lose because you haven't done any grinding. But sending some off to grind while you're focusing on 1 or 2 of your own Pokemon that are in your party means that 3 Pokemon are kind of leveling simultaneously as opposed to just the 2. So
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Lucy, are you keen on this open world style Pokemon? Because it's a pretty big departure from what we've seen over the last, what seems to be 90 years of Pokemon.
Yeah. No, I love open world kind of games. Yeah, like I spend a lot of time dicking around in open world games. Yeah.
If it's anything like Arceus, and it's looking like it's going to be very close to Arceus, but back to the mainline kind of badge progression system. But a lot of fishing. A lot of fishing in these Pokemon open world games.
A lot of fishing.
Really?
In all Pokemon games. But yeah, I'm going to say it's interesting, and you can be the judge of whether it's interesting. But it's basically, it was a system based off like how good your rod was how good fish you could reel in were. So they'd be higher level if you had the best rod. It's a fun way to catch water Pokemon before you can get out and surf on the water and stuff like that. So
yeah. So has the fishing improved in the game, like over recent years?
No, it hasn't really changed. It's very simple.
No, it hasn't really changed. Okay.
It's one of those, you cast it and then you wait for the thing to go bloop, and you go
and
boom,
then you press the button.
And it goes back in.
Yeah.
So there's not any skill to it other than timing.
Yeah.
But then you catch one of those water Pokemon and you take it to a nursery and it learns how to make love, and that's the most important. That's the most important thing. Cool. Well, again, I like this is, even though it's not exactly the auto battle thing that I thought, because I was like, if this can be something where, because Banjo can't read properly at the moment, if he can just sit and press a button and the Pokemon will fight, and then he can go on and continue capturing them, I was like, well, when I get bored of Pokemon in the first 5 hours of this game, which probably will happen even though I'm really keen for it, then he can continue on. Not quite that, but I'm just going to have to teach him how to read between now and November. That's the easiest way. Pete, what story made you back up this week?
Well, it was the Ubi presser on Sunday, ludicrous o'clock. Was kind of a big dump of information from Ubisoft about titles that we know are coming up, and then a really big Assassin's Creed chunk, which was quite exciting for someone who's kind of lapsed in my interest in Assassin's Creed over the years. But starting at the top, this guy always looks so good.
Oh, God, he's so fucking hot.
They started with Sparks of Hope, which is out soon. David went into plenty of detail on the new kind of combat systems and how the sparks, these kind of augments to characters that give them special abilities. And it's sounding really cool, I think. In all ways, I like the changes. It's just getting deeper and deeper in more interesting ways. I loved the first one, but it was very baseline. I'll make sure I have a sniper and a tank and a healer, and I'm good. Whereas this sounds like there's going to be more interesting ways to approach battles and more clutch moments, because I think it will be a little harder.
And the sparks kind of act as like a loadout thing. It does feel like I loved the first game. It feels like the first game was almost like a proof of concept of the battle system. It was the grid-based one. Like you said, it was relatively simple, but then all of this is so much more appealing. And I think the big takeaway for me that I took from it is that there's so many levels of being able to chain things together. So there was like Mario would set up in a sort of Overwatch situation, and then Bowser would come in and float, bash. Mario would activate a spark, Bowser would activate a spark, Mario would activate his Overwatch, 40,000 things die. It looks sick.
Yeah. Did you play Sparks or Kingdom Battle at all, Splucy?
No, this is actually kind of the first time I've seen something like this.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because it's like this Kingdom Battle came out in 2018, I think, and kind of came out of nowhere and was this collaboration between Ubisoft and Nintendo that no one saw coming. And they created this like gem of a strategy game where Mario and Mario-fied versions of Rabbids did this strategy combat level based thing. And yeah, it did so well that the sequel's coming. Is it November?
No, next month.
Oh my goodness!
I think it's the end of September.
We're in September.
I think it's the end of October. It's 20th of October.
Oh my god! So that's exciting. And yeah, everything they showed off about this was super cool.
Yeah, so keen.
I think the next little piece was Skull and Bones. Yeah, Skull and Bones is a hard thing to sell. They're not selling it too well. Every time they show it, it's like, is this just a like? I get the idea of it being like boat is base, and I mean there is like a like little grotto that you can hang out in, and like a little kind of like pirate village, but it really is just like it's only you and your ship, and then there's like only 3 things you can tinker with on your ship, and it's like this is really
this
basic.
one was sent out to die. I felt
I know,
so sorry for her, particularly because so much of this part of the presentation was talking about streamers who have been inputting their feedback on the game, and it was mainly like, and most of the things they were saying was the communication between myself and Ubisoft was really good. And it's like,
Yeah.
if the communication of your
Best thing
QA
you can
team,
find.
to your developers is what you think is a highlight to put in a press conference, then there is something really fundamentally wrong with this video game. Yeah, I feel really sorry for it.
Are you a pirate fan, Sploose?
I played a little bit of Sea of Thieves. I quite enjoy that game.
Yes.
I don't know if this has like a lot of similarities to that, apart from being pirates.
Absolutely, yeah. It is kind of like an open seas.
Yeah, it's like how is it like a lot different to Sea of Thieves?
Well, we're kind of
Thieves is
yet
pretty
to
fun.
really see. Yeah, Sea of Thieves is fun, and this looks like it's not. I think it's like, I think people are expecting this like really massive pirate game, and it's going to be a few basic systems. And if those basic systems work really well, then it could be an enjoyable experience. But I don't think it's going to be like this power fantasy that people want, which is where like every time they try and sell it and they don't have the power fantasy stuff, it's like you can choose which ammunition to put in your cannons and which armor to put on your hull, and the ammunition can't break through this armor. It's like, okay, that's the depth of the game. Is it like
That doesn't sound terribly exciting to me.
it's just matching armor to the ammo that the team's shooting back at you.
Okay.
Can we take a moment for how, like, are they shooting in the volume for this?
Yeah, they
press
must
conference?
be in the volume.
It is. It looks so good. Like the
cool.
sets that they're standing, like the CG sets and stuff that come.
I
it
was
looks
thinking
sick.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's very clever. Yeah.
I mean, that was literally the best part of the Skull and Bones thing. I was
Yeah.
like, it really looks like she's on a boat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want this game to be good. I love pirates. I think that we'll see. We can't judge, but yeah, it's gonna be terrible.
It's hard.
Pete, what else did you like?
There's the new Just Dance, and I'm not big into Just Dance. I like the Division's got a new kind of mode coming out. So people who love the Division have got a little taste of something. And look, I'm scrubbing the full thing here, but this Rainbow Six is coming to mobile. That's a thing that everyone's doing now, mobile everything. But the new Just Dance looks really good. It looks like they are always like, they are what they are, but really cool collaboration tools and stuff like that. So I think it could potentially become a bit more of a streamed game where it's not so much at the moment. So, it could be a new strength to the Just Dance series going forward. But unless there's anything else you want to talk about from Ubisoft, I'll move on to the Assassin's Creed stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a big chunk, about half an hour of their presentation was Assassin's Creed focused, and they showed off Mirage, the new mainline Assassin's Creed, the next one coming up, which is basically Aladdin's Creed, and I'm fucking pumped for it. It looks awesome.
It looks so good.
Yeah, we're in Baghdad, and this character apparently is in Valhalla, but this character, who will be the main character, is in Valhalla. I haven't played Valhalla, but this is set, I think, 20 years before, so they must already be an assassin by the time Valhalla rolls around. And it's interesting how they're trying to keep all their... I think since Kenway was Connor's father in, like, 3 and 4 or whatever... they've always tried to keep these assassins connected in they're directly connected to each other. So
this looks so good. I think that this is the one that we spoke about. I think it was last week, where it's potentially shorter and more focused. It's opening up multiple sections of one city that you're spending the time in, and you see it here. And everything, obviously this was just like a cinematic trailer, but everything about this trailer was focused in the city as well, which I really liked. Like this felt more like Assassin's Creed 2, which is, with the exception of Black Flag, probably the best Assassin's Creed game. And I'm so here for it. Lucy, I know that we spoke about before the show started that you haven't played an Assassin's Creed game in a while, but you did play some of the earlier ones, which this could be throwing back to. What was it that made you drop off Assassin's Creed, since you said that you love, quote, dicking around in open worlds?
I think I must have played the first, second, and third one. I'm not sure if I played the third one, but it was so long ago, so I can't remember too much about it. But yes, I would dick around a fair bit, just casually walking around, and then shank some innocent person, and then just be like running around and trying to stealth and all that, and then I'd play the storyline a bit. I can I completed like the games, but sometimes I can be
for the shanking.
Mainly there for shanking.
Shanking innocent people. Yes, that's what I like to do.
Heaven forbid you ever end up in jail with Lucy. So does this look appealing to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would like to try an Assassin's Creed game again. It has been a while. I did enjoy it, and I don't know why I kind of stopped playing them. Maybe I just got distracted by another game or something, and then just kind of forgot how much I liked it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it'd be good to revisit that.
Yeah, the formula got a little bit like bloated later into the series. So if they're back to a refined version of it, I'm totally back in 100%.
Yeah, same.
But that was obviously the big exciting thing, because it's like on the horizon. But there was just a bunch of stuff they announced, and they talked about Mirage for a bit. And then they talked about how they hired some cosplayer for a bit. And then they have the last Valhalla DLC is on the horizon. That's coming pretty soon. But then there were 3 more titles announced right at the end. So there is Assassin's Creed codenamed Jade. Is a mobile Assassin's Creed set in like ancient China. And I mean, is this ancient? Not really. Kind of feudal China. I'm sure this is going to relate across to the Japanese title, which has been announced officially. Assassin's Creed codename Red is the Assassin's Creed that's going to be set. You're a what do you call him? Not samurai. What's the assassin version
Shinobi?
of that? Shinobi. Slaying. Everyone's wanted it since the first one.
It's the first
finally announced.
Totally. 40 games set in Europe. And then, it's so cool. The codename Jade China one. I don't know what an Assassin's Creed on a mobile looks like in terms of how long, in-depth, grindy that is. I'm sure it will look pretty good, because mobile games just look pretty good in general these days.
Well, this was apparently captured in engine, it said before.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's wild. Yeah. I'm probably not particularly interested in this one, just because that's just not really where I want to play long RPGs. But Codename Red looks so good. Like you said, wanted it for so long. Even just the reveal of the assassin sort of like jumping up on there. It has a more actiony feel as well, like immediately having that like the sword, the pose, everything about it is kind of
Yeah.
like I'm here to fuck you up. And I squealed like a child, which was very unbecoming. But yeah, I mean that's so, it looks so cool. I'm totally here for it. Yeah, totally. But that wasn't the most exciting one because the next one is for me. I'm just like, what is this?
Yeah. So then they kind of concluded with it's a little before here. Sorry, I'm scrubbing around. Here we go. So they had one kind of final, very visual tease. Like this is obviously the earliest progress one, but they've teased that this one is a completely different take on Assassin's Creed as well. So not necessarily an open world stealthy game. And look at the mood. Look at that mood.
Mm.
So it's just like Germanic brambles.
It is like you're 100% some assassin witch, right?
Yeah.
You have to be
Totally.
an assassin witch, which I think is the coolest sentence.
So Assassin's Creed codename Hexe, they were calling it Hexe, which is like a Old English Germanic word for witch. So codename witch, you will be a witch. And the speculation is that it's going to be during like the Roman Empire, which
Really?
so like probably the tendrils of the Roman Empire coming up into Germanic territory where they kind of got turned around and couldn't conquer. So you'll kind of be, I reckon that's where it'll be, the kind of the front line between the kind of Germanic barbarians and the holy Romans on their crusade to save the world, to purify the world. And the last thing they kind of did was announce kind of explain what the Infinite, because we heard about Assassin's Creed Infinity, system like last year. They explained that this is kind of like a hub for the nodes of the Assassin's Creeds that are coming. So Infinity is kind of going to be this centralized platform where there's going to be like progression saved across your Assassin's Creed profile that talks to all the games, and they also teased that that's going to potentially give them an opportunity to bring back some form of PvP multiplayer in Assassin's Creed, which is interesting. I know a lot of people want it. I never found it interesting, but it's cool that it's affording them that opportunity.
Didn't the original multiplayer for Assassin's Creed have that thing where it was like you try to blend in with the crowd? So basically, like you as the assassin are pretending to be an NPC within the game, and you like a lot of you sort of would sit and start you would sort of path yourself back and forth like an NPC as someone is trying to get through that level so that they'll walk past you and you can give them the old Lucy. I'm interested to see what for them a multiplayer game is now. But the Infinity thing, even though they didn't give a lot of information about it, they did wrap. It seemed like Red, Hexe, and Jade are all wrapped under the Infinity thing, or at least Red and Hex. They didn't put they put out that graphic at the end, and Mirage wasn't under there, so we're getting it after that. But if Red and Hexe are that thing where you can sort of bolt on these, like we've assumed, bolt on these different stories and worlds to some sort of animus bullshit, then I think that will potentially work really well. It's so interesting that Ubisoft were like, we'll take a year off from Assassin's Creed. While they took the year off from Assassin's Creed,
they made 12
Valhalla
Assassin's Creed games.
continued to sell incredible. They put out multiple DLCs, one of which was like a 30-hour DLC campaign that's longer than most video games. And then they come out and they're like, oh, by the way, we've got one last chapter for Valhalla, which might be one of the biggest video games of all time now. Assassin's Creed Mirage, 3 more Assassin's Creed games, and a Netflix series.
Netflix series.
How many games have they actually come out with?
I think under the Assassin's Creed brand, they're up near 20 now because they've had smaller side scrollers. They had like a trio of those, and they've had they had a PSP game like Liberty or whatever, Liberation, whatever it's called. So yeah, it's been it's been around for a long time, and they've dabbled in different spaces. So
Yeah.
And they've all been like
There's been a couple of mobile games before.
consistently good.
No.
I'm like, did I stop playing because I don't know. I tried like maybe the third one and then went, I don't know.
They've definitely had like every time they change the engine, they have a bit of a fluster with like technology. But I would say that yes, they have been good the whole time.
I think they've been consistent.
Some have been great, and most have just been and some have been just okay and broken.
It's more that there was particularly with 2, because they had 2 and they had Brotherhood and Revelations, which were like sub 2 games set with the same characters in the same location in the same city, and then it just felt like you had just finished one and a new one was coming out. Yeah. And they were like sports games where they weren't necessarily iterating with massive new mechanics. It was kind of just, okay, now we're in a different location. This stuff seems to be wildly varied in location, but also I have to assume gameplay, because the way that an assassin in Baghdad works is so different to the way that a shinobi would work, and so different to the way a Roman witch would kill someone. So that's the thing that I'm most keen for. And I also really want to be like, every time I sit down and play Valhalla, I'm like, this is a really good game. There's just, I don't have 200 hours. Yeah, unless you're Elden Ring, I don't have 200 hours for you. So, super cool. Really, really strong showing, I think. Really, really strong. In a year where Ubisoft is you've sort of felt, I wonder what the deal with Ubisoft is at the moment. I think that they earned a lot of goodwill with this one, because most of it was bangers. My story that caught my eye this week, it was another showcase. It was the Disney and Marvel Games Showcase. There were not as many awesome things revealed at this. I don't think the expectation necessarily was. A lot of it was mobile content. A lot of it was mobile games and expansion stuff for other things. And obviously just things that I'm not particularly interested in, like the Lego games and Dreamlight Valley, which I hear is great, but it is not really my thing. They started off with a look at what's the name of the Marvel Sons? I don't even have it written down. What's the fucking Marvel game? Marvel card game? Sons. Midnight Suns, which continues to look good. I feel like that is a game specifically made for me. I don't know how much universal appeal that thing's going to have, but I'm super keen for it. There was a Tron game, which we just saw there, which I am really keen for, because it's Mike Bithell is developing this. So Mike Bithell has made he just makes really great experimental games. He made Thomas Was Alone, which was where you played as the little cube, and that was your whole character was just being this cube in a platformer, which was fantastic. He made Volume, which was awesome. Quarantine Circular and Subsurface Circular, which were really interesting narrative games. He made the John Wick Hex game. So Solitaire Conspiracy, which came out last year. Just always making something different, and this is sort of like a narrative-based Tron game, which could be really cool, if even just from like a visual standpoint. Because I love me some Tron. They also announced Disney Speedstorm, which is a racing game, like a sort of Disney kart game, which seems a bit like a no-brainer on that one. And I saw some pretty positive buzz around this. I think that the playing as Sully, being able to race from Monsters Inc. on like a kart racer, feels like it's appealing to a generation like a young generation that don't necessarily have an affinity for something like Mario Kart, where they grew up with all those characters. This is like all the characters that you see in the movies and TV shows you watch as a kid. So like, look how sick that is. Look at him.
Yeah.
I love this. So I'm hoping this is good.
It'd be nice for Mario Kart to have a true contender. Like, it's been a long time.
Totally.
People loved Diddy Kong Racing, and I did too, but like it was never as polished as Mario Kart on the 64, and it was kind of that was the closest it's ever been. Sonic All-Star Racing is a thing that comes around every now and then.
Yeah, I see some people talk about that every now and then, but it's still nothing's reaching up to Mario Kart, and this looks cool. Like, this looks fun. Obviously, again, it's not gameplay. This is just cinematic, so we'll see. But these sort of like IP mashups are doing very well at the moment. You look at something like Multiverses, so bit of a no-brainer. But the two things that that really caught my eye, I think Disney Illusion looks really cool. This is a 2D co-op platformer that's coming for the Switch. And it has a really, really cool art style. It's basically a cartoon version where you play as Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, and Donald, and you sort of go and explore an island, run around, have adventures. But the art style, it's got like it's kind of like Animaniacs almost.
Yeah, totally.
It's doing a bit of, it's not the same as Cuphead, but I am a sucker for any game that feels like it was hand-drawn, but you're able to move around. And this sort of like co-op adventuring platformer thing could be really fun. I just feel like it has stacks of personality.
The design of it, yeah, I definitely got like Cuphead sort of vibes straight away.
It's really, really beautiful, and and hopefully plays well. The last thing that I saw, so I basically picked this whole thing just because I was so confused. So there were two Avatar games announced, or not announced, but shown at this. So there was the Frontiers of Pandora, this is the Ubisoft Avatar game, and it's the one. It's sort of like the big AAA one, and there was just another cinematic for that, and it looks cool. It looks quite beautiful, very much like everything you think of when you think of Avatar. You're sort of like, you have this bow, you're running around, there's all these animals, this gorgeous environment, open world, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, cool, I'm into this. And then they also said they were talking about Avatar Reckoning. And Avatar Reckoning is a mobile game that I had not heard of before, but had been announced. And they revealed a gameplay trailer for it. And this is it. And I was like, oh, interesting. So you sort of design an avatar. Okay, cool. Interesting. Oh, guns. Right. Okay, so you can pick attachments, and that's right. And then, okay, cool. We're back to the beautiful world. Okay. We're just gonna shoot. We're just gonna start just shooting the animals. Sick. Okay, and then right. So this is now when it's not Pandora. We're sort of fighting off the military guy with the guns, but then also at this point so now it's just Call of Duty. So now we're just in a Call of Duty game, and we're just a blue guy with a backpack fucking playing Call of Duty. And I lost it watching this in a really, I did not expect. Pete, I've sent you an audio
that's a lot going on.
It's a lot going on, Lucy. So I sent an audio clip to Pete. I was talking to a friend while I was doing this, and they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm putting together some stuff in the news tomorrow. I'm watching these press conferences, and I start watching this trailer, and I start laughing. I'm in the house by myself. I start laughing in disbelief, and I'm like, I need to record this because this is so stupid what's happening. And my reaction is so, like, I've never had a genuine reaction to a trailer like this. Pete, can you play that audio clip that I ended up sending my friend?
I'll try and get the footage playing at the same time so everyone can. How loud is this, by the way? Because we didn't test this. This came in hot.
Look, it's me, so it's pretty loud.
I'll start low and raise up.
Yeah, so it starts at. All you need to, if you go back to where it was the Thresher, is like fighting off the thing with all the blades. That's basically where I started recording. And yeah, here.
Okay.
What the fuck?
It's the battle with other players, trying to survive against hostile enemies, or battle in player versus player mode.
I am in the house by myself, cackling at this fucking multiplayer when it turns into Call of Duty, and I'm just like, it just feels like you have missed the point of Avatar. You did not watch the movie Avatar, which was all about how embracing nature and how the military ruins everything that is the plot. And yes, at some point you need to fight back against that military industrial complex. But when the game that you have on Pandora is set in a fucking like shipping warehouse on Pandora, and you're just a dude with a gun, at what point, like you're not only squandering the Avatar potential, you're almost going against the spirit of the IP in the first place. It's so fucking confusing. So yeah,
it was, I feel that.
Yeah, I don't know how you are. You an Avatar fan, Lucy? Do you want to head into Pandora?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I watched the Avatar movie so many times. Like, I love the story and all of that. Like, it's a very entertaining movie, but just the beauty of it, like just the world, and I don't know if they're going to have like some kind of like nighttime kind of scenes in the games, but that was exceptionally that was exceptionally pretty. Yeah. So I'd be really interested to see that. Yeah. I don't know about that Call of Duty style stuff. But yeah.
It looks awful.
Yeah, it's just so awful. So I'm glad that we got the 2D Disney platformer thing, because after I saw that, and I was so offended, and I didn't consider myself, I really liked Avatar, but I didn't consider myself an Avatar stan, but now I'm realizing I feel way more passionate about Avatar than I realized, so I then had to go back and watch the Disney Illusion thing to feel better about myself. So that is everything you need to know about the video game news that happened this week. Oh yeah,
can I quickly bring it, because I liked I liked everything you talked about. There were a couple other things in this trailer that I kind of saw that I was like, in the showcase, I was like, that's interesting. The Mirrorverse, it says new villains, but what is Mirrorverse? Because
never heard of it before in my entire life.
Yeah, because I was like, is this a MOBA with Disney villains? Because that would be baller. Because that's what the trailer implies to me.
It is a mobile game, action RPG for mobile, set in an all-new divergent Disney universe where players assemble teams of amplified, action-ready 3D Disney and Pixar characters to battle against a dark force.
Okay, that doesn't mean anything to me.
No, but it's a 3D. It looks like that thing Will played on the show a couple of weeks ago. That Star Wars mobile game,
little battler, like tiny little arena shooter. Okay, interesting. Not what I'm into. The Gargoyles remaster's cool because Gargoyles was cool. But the other thing was, and I think we would get in trouble for not mentioning this, and whether you're excited about it or not, it's the premiere of a teaser for Skydance Media's new thing.
I literally skipped over this. I didn't even watch.
Oh, really?
The thing. Yeah, cool.
Well, so this is news to me.
Yeah,
let's watch it. I'll pump the audio.
But I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Keep smiling through, just like you always do, till the blue skies drive the dark clouds far away.
The most Marvel fucking epic thing.
I don't think anyone would be interested in that. Yeah, right. Sick. I just was like, oh, this just looks like some dumb cinematic. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, it's Little Will wet his pants. I bet he did. Obviously, Captain America and Black Panther game. Amy Hennig is attached to it, so we imagine it will be an action adventure game. It looks. I mean, it's a lot of promising things coming together, so exciting to see what will happen with that.
Yeah, cool. Are you a Marvel fan, Lucy?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say like I'm a crazy like sort of Marvel fan. I've watched a lot of the Marvel movies. I haven't really played any Marvel games though, but yeah, I'm sort of a fan. Yeah, more than DC Comics anyway.
Yeah, take that, DC.
Yeah.
Fucking useless.
Black Adam.
They seem to just be like, up against each other. So
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. Captain America and Black Panther is not the first team up that I would have thought of, but I'm sure there's 40,000 comics of it somewhere. But that looks cool. That looks sick. And
yeah, I like the olden days kind of games and sort of vibe and the music. And I think I played like a game called like Mafia. It was kind of Mafia was it?
Yeah,
it was like a real old school kind of like Grand Theft Auto type game, I think.
Yeah.
I quite like that.
Mobsters.
Yeah, mobsters in the old car and old cars and music. So yeah, I like that.
Okay, good. Well, Pete, thanks for saving me because I would have got a lot of tweets. So that's good. All right, now that is literally all the video game news you need to know.